A quick disclaimer, because I feel the need to say this after some of the things that have happened in the past. By no means am I trying to say that Bungie did anything wrong or that they should have done things differently. These are just some of my personal thoughts on what could have happened and some fun ideas to make these exotics a little more viable in current endgame content. Firstly, I want to mention that when you pair these guns with the seasonal artifact mod Rays of Precision, they both synergize amazingly well with Solar 3.0. But what happens next season? Sunshot, a great weapon that's been around since the very beginning of Destiny 2. The solar explosion is great, but it doesn't really feel like a solar explosion. It just feels like a regular explosion. I have a few ideas trying to make it feel more like a solar exotic than an exotic that happens to do solar damage, some more game breaking than others. The least game breaking and the one that I think would be most likely to be added or adjusted is to just make the explosion apply Scorch to everything it touches. It would be most similar to the way that the incandescent perk works. But the explosion from Sunshot is bigger and does a little more initial damage. I was honestly a little bit surprised that this wasn't changed, especially after I saw some of the other changes that were made to other solar exotic guns, like Prometheus Lens. The perk Sunblast on Sunshot even says that it makes targets explode with solar energy, but it really just feels like it makes a target explode with neutral energy. The Polaris Lance, another solar exotic that received no changes to synergize better with Solar 3.0, also has a perk that says that it has a solar explosive. This one, however, does cause lingering solar damage to affect the target, but it doesn't interact with Scorch or Ignition in any way, which is a little bit disappointing. All they need to do to make this weapon work better is make the perfect 5th round cause a solar explosion that applies Scorch to targets it hits. Once you're able to apply enough Scorch stacks to the target, if it survives, it would proc Ignition, doing even more damage. The only downside that I can see is that this might be a little bit strong when it comes to boss DPS, but on the other hand, there are already some exotic primaries you could argue are strong in that aspect. Both of these changes would synergize immensely well with some of the aspects and fragments that we have for Solar 3.0, and wouldn't require a seasonal artifact to make the weapon relevant with solar builds. Both of these weapons have been around since year 1, and it seems that the older they get, the less they work in newer builds, to the point of not even working in some of their older builds. That being said, I do still have a lot of fun using them, and I think they are great weapons. But there aren't a lot of guns, especially exotic guns, that I would choose over them when it comes to higher level content. And I feel like that's where they could really shine, with just a couple minor changes. These weapons already have most of the perks they would need in order to be improved. And they are already so close to being top tier choices within solar builds. But beyond this season, I don't see them getting much use. Solar 3.0 is, in all honesty, the most fun that I have had with any types of builds in Destiny 2. Because when I do it right, I'm able to output tons of damage and stay alive. And honestly, there's a lot of ways to do it right. I have a blast doing activities I didn't think I would ever be able to do solo. I know that things are going to change next season. New builds are going to come around. But I think there should still be some room for old builds too. I don't really find myself using Void much this season, which is fine, it's never been my favorite. But as someone who started with a Hunter back in Destiny 1, Solar has always been my go-to. And now that it's become the beast that it is, I don't want to lose it. At the same time, I know that's how this game works. Things come and things go. And I also know that when Arc comes out, I'll have a ton of fun messing around with it and exploring new builds. But maybe, just maybe, there could be a couple small changes that would make 2 of the oldest solar exotics in Destiny 2 a little more viable beyond this season. As far as the game-breaking ideas go, I'll leave it up to you guys, the viewers, to comment something you think would be fun but absolutely game breaking down below. I want to hear your craziest ideas on how you can break these exotics using only like solar ignition, using only solar ideas. If you enjoyed this little video on a couple of exotics that I wish had been changed with Solar 3.0, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you know when I upload again. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.